What's going on, guys? My name is Demetri Gill. This is my Finance 381 project. We're going to jump straight into it. There are three companies that I've chosen to do my project on today. First one would be Chipotle. Second company would be Netflix. Third company will be Ralph Lauren. So today, there are three questions that we have to answer regarding the companies that I've chosen. The first question will be who to make a short-term loan to. Second question is who to make a long-term loan to. Third question is which company would I buy. Making a short-term loan. Now there's three criteria that we're going to have to consider when deciding who to give a short-term loan to. Those three would be current ratio, quick ratio, and cash ratio. Current ratio is mainly used just to give an idea of the company's ability to pay back its liabilities, debt, and accounts payable with its assets, cash, inventory, accounts receivable. The higher the current ratio, the more capable the company is of paying its obligations, and that is what we're definitely looking for. Quick ratio. The quick ratio measures the dollar amount of a liquid asset available for each dollar of its current liabilities. An example would be a quick ratio of 1.5 means that a company has $1.50 of liquid assets available to cover each $1 of its current liabilities. The higher the quick ratio, the better the company's liquidity position. Cash ratio. If a company's cash ratio is equal to 1, then the company has exactly the same amount of current liabilities as it does cash and cash equivalents to pay off those debts. If a company's cash ratio is less than 1, there are more current liabilities than cash and cash equivalents. In this situation, there's inefficient cash on hand to pay off that short-term debt. If a company's cash ratio is greater than 1, the company has more cash and more cash equivalents than current liabilities. And in this situation, the company has the ability to cover all of its short-term debt and still have cash remaining, which is a positive, which is good. So as we analyze our data and we look at everything that each company has done in the past 5 years, who we give a short-term loan to would be Chipotle because they have the best numbers and best stats when it comes to current, quick, and cash ratio. Making a long-term loan. Now, there's one criteria that we're going to use today to determine who we're going to give the long-term loan to out of the three companies. That is total debt to equity. Now, a high debt to equity ratio indicates that the company may not be able to generate enough cash to satisfy its debt obligations. So, high numbers is not good for these companies. So, with the Chipotle, we see that in 2012 it was 0.28, 2013 0, 2014 0, 2015 0, 2016 0, which is good. Netflix. 26.86 in 2012, 37.49 in 2013, 47.69 in 2014, 106.65 in 2015, 125.54 in 2016. Ralph Lauren, 7.04 in 2013, 7.39 in 2014, 13.67 in 2015, 19.04 in 2016, and 1.17 in 2017. And the company with the best numbers, because we're not looking for the ones with the highest numbers, we're actually looking for the company with the lowest debt to equity ratio, and that will be Chipotle. So we will give, in this instance, we will give Chipotle the long-term loan. Now, which company would I buy? Now, when it comes to which company I definitely would like to purchase, we're definitely going to look at some criteria such as ROE, ROA, equity multiplier, profit margin, and total asset turnover when it comes to each of these companies. We'll decide who has the best numbers, and then we'll decide who we give the loan to. So first I'll cover each of these criteria and components that's going to establish which company we rather buy out of the three. So when it comes to that, we're going to start with ROE, return on equity, which is the amount of net income returned as a percentage of shareholders' equity. Return on equity measures a corporation's profitability by revealing how much profit a company generates with the money shareholders have invested. So for high growth companies, you would expect a higher ROE, which is what we want when considering which company to buy ultimately. ROA, return on assets, is an indicator of how profitable a company is relative to its total assets. ROA gives an idea to how efficient management is at using its assets to generate earnings. sometimes referred to as return on investment. The higher the ROA ratio, the better, because the company is earning more money on less investment. Equity multiplier, which measures a company's financial leverage by using a ratio of the company's total assets to its stockholders' equity. Usually, a lower equity multiplier indicates a company has lower financial leverage. It is better to have a low equity multiplier because a company uses less debt to finance its assets. Profit margin are expressed as a percentage and measure how much of every dollar of sales a company actually keeps in earnings. An example, a 20% profit margin means the company has a net income of 20 cents for each dollar of total revenue earned. Total asset turnover. Asset turnover ratio is of the value of a company's sales or revenues generated relative to the value of its assets. The asset turnover ratio can be often used as an indicator of the efficiency with which a company is deploying its assets and generating revenue. The higher the asset turnover ratio, the better the company is performing, since high ratios simply imply that the company is generating more revenue per dollar of assets. So as we got all of our information in front of us and we want to break it down and we want to look at all of this data, we're going to decide which company we're going to buy and who has the better numbers, right? So after looking at all of this and analyzing the data of each, we're going to decide that Ralph Lauren has the better numbers. Now, Ralph Lauren's data is on the next slide. So, looking at this data, we know that out of the two on this slide, that Chipotle will ultimately be ahead of Netflix. But then we look at Ralph Lauren's data, and we see that that's the company that we would like to purchase, that we would like to buy. And when you look at Chipotle's numbers, actually, at the end of, at the end of 2016, you see that the numbers plummet tremendously. Now, that's definitely an indication of a business that's going through something in the market that's maybe not a market, but a business that's definitely dealing with something. And Chipotle definitely dealt with something in 2016 that plummeted the numbers in each of the criteria that we discussed of 2016. So the company that we're going to go with is Ralph Lauren. The company that we're going to buy simply has the best numbers. And that's it for this project, Finance 381.